so here we are with the rebuild of the internals. First thing we're going to start with is this seal right here. Nothing to do, just like it came out. Only you push it in, make sure it's nice and even. One thing I would like to do, get a rubber hammer, get something with a little bit of weight to it, so that's flat, covers the whole surface. Tap around it to make sure it's seated properly. Bam. Now same thing for one of the axle seals. It's actually pretty easy. One's smaller, one's bigger. Try and put the smaller one in there. It's not gonna fit. Try and put the bigger one in there. Not gonna fit depending on where it goes. So this one's actually smaller. So I'm gonna just seat this in right here. The inside, push it through nice and easy. Well, actually, the outside. And again, just get a rubber mallet or something. Tap it in there. Nice and flush. Okay, so for bearing install, you put that little piece down, and you want to actually lube up these walls where the bearings are going to go generously. You don't really want them fighting you when it's install, so lube them up. Same thing with these bearings themselves. They don't want to fighting you, scoring the surface or anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get it lined up. Make sure it's nice and straight. And get this actual piece of the slide hammer and drop it along this rubber mallet. Bam. It's in. Get a rag. Wipe it down. If you don't believe it's all the way down, just get that rubber mallet, tap it again. They're supposed to be pressed in. I don't have it, so we'll be doing the same thing with the next bearing. Again, generously lube up these walls. Yes, I just did it, but you don't want this going in dry. Okay, you got it in nicely. Bam. Get this rubber mallet and just tap it down. Got that in. No harm in greasing up these bearings now either. Just get it enough so that they can move right. For the differential, really just going to grab some, splash it along the sides. Nice and lubed up. Same thing with this diff. Lube up this bearing right here. The reason I'm not replacing them is they're really not bad, and the kit I purchased didn't come with it, it came with everything else. So, as you can see, my differential spins fine. Even holding this bearing, there's no noise. And if I want to, I'm going to lube it up a little bit. But it spins fine. We can start the teardown and replacement of the synchros. We're going to start with the countershaft / input shaft. Alright, first thing is there is a nut right here. you have to impact off. Right here, there's a little groove. That is nut, you have to push it in. Easiest thing to do is get one of those flatheads I told you about. Hammer it out, get the impact off. This thing is tight. Take it off, get this washer and put it to the side. You don't want to lose that stuff, alright? Easiest way I found is place it upside down as you take it off. Flip it. So, gotta be careful when you pull these out. There are little pieces and seals in here. Keep everything moving. Like this. So now we have the new sleeve and selector. Got that synchro. We're just going to line it up as we normally do. Place it on. So this does need to get pressed. Take the shaft off, press it on, tap it on, however you do it. Me, I'm lightly going each side with a rubber mallet. Once you get everything pressed on and it's ready, get the selector, line up those grooves. Make sure, bam, it selects the gear. Too easy, right? So, next thing you'll need as the next synchro and ring. Really not that hard. Move everything up. The ring on. Match up those grooves. Get your next gear. So, this is first, reverse, second, third. Here's your fourth gear. And slide right on. No issues. So when you select it, fourth gear's engaged, but can't forget about these needle bearings and this sleeve. That's gonna go down with it. Get your next gear. Do fifth. Make sure you have its needle bearing. Slide it down so. You're selecting fourth. See, fourth doesn't free spin. Selecting third. Fourth can now free spin. So, just leave it in neutral for now. Next, you guessed it, final synchro and ring. Final set. Use most of what this kit has to offer. Here's the sleeve. We can toss that old one out with the synchro. So we'll get the final synchro and final ring besides reverses. Again, lube it up. Not gonna harm it. If anything, this will help your break-in period. It's just nice and lubed. Put your ring on there. So you take this selector, find two deepest teeth wells. So you can see it's these two right here. And the two teeth, if it'll focus, let's stick out the furthest, so it's going to be those two right there. Once you line those up, should slide right on. So, after we've done to everything, lube it up. Get this synchro lined up. Drop it down. Bam. Now for reverse. Okay, so for the final synchro, here's reverse. And in this kit, the Master Rebuild kit by Synchrotech, the full carbon, reverse is actually a regular synchro, OEM synchro. I mean, my theory, I don't know the exact reason is because you shouldn't be beating on reverse like that. So it shouldn't have the need to be a full carbon synchro. So after that, Synchro off. I'm gonna slip this over. Okay, real easy. Get this plate I was telling you about, and this pretty much is to line everything up. It gets the casing in place. So you line that up. Orientation right now doesn't matter, but you really want it about the 12 o'clock or close to the reverse idler gear. Get this final bearing out, and you want to lube the shaft up. I want to make sure it slides on nice and smooth. Don't forget your needle bearings though. Alright, so needle bearings, this little spacer, and you want the words facing up. If you really want it to be smooth, you know, just lube up the inside of the bearing. Should slide almost right on. If not, really just give it a light little love tap so it seats properly. And the reason you want it facing up is because it's actually tapered for the casing up here. So that would be reverse. Fifth, fourth, third. Put them in neutral. Alright. Bearing spins freely. Alright you guys, so my apology for this. I'm doing a voiceover right now. While I was filming this video, some of the clips and audio actually became corrupted. My iPad was overheating. So here we go. Right here I'm just cleaning up the casing and making sure that when it's time to close it up, seal it, and apply that new RTV to it, there's nothing in the way, nothing that's gonna gunk up the synchros or contaminate any of it, since the break-in period is really important to make sure it's gonna last. This little plate right here, I believe it's just a baffle held down with two 10mm bolts. Since it's by the differential, probably to stop it from splashing around so much, or maybe like bubbling up or anything like that. I don't really know the torque specs on it, but it's an aluminum casing, two small 10mm bolts, and it came out with almost no fight. If you're going to do a deep cleaning, I recommend taking both of them off, just to ensure that you can get everywhere under there. I know when I did mine, there was a lot of gunk under there, kind of burnt up oil, stuff like that, maybe anything that the magnet couldn't catch. So that's one thing to look out for if you're going to be going this in depth for the teardown and rebuild. And now this is just going to be that second little plate. This one I believe is not a baffle, but maybe like a hold down. It does have a little 10mm bolt on it and a tab that needs to be folded up or down when you're taking it off, but up to lock the bolt in place from backing out. I just use a flathead and a rubber mallet, as you'll see right now. So again, I'm trying to get this down and I'm not cranking down on it. And that bolt actually might have been a 12mm, my apologies. So here we go, I'm using a rubber mallet just to try and tap it back in place, and a flathead just to fold it back up so it lines up flush with the head of the bolt. Okay, and also for those of you interested in trying to figure out where I got this Synchrotech rebuild kit, I did not actually get it from Synchrotech themselves. I got it from a authorized dealer, Tall Pines Racing. I'll put their link to their Instagram in the description, and same with their website. Their prices are really good. I believe I saved like $200 on it, compared to just going straight off Synchrotech's website or other authorized dealers. Package came real quickly, and they helped with tracking and everything, made sure I got a good quality product and timeliness and everything. Now right here I'm pulling out the differential, just to really help with ease, because I will be installing a couple other parts that I don't want to have the chance of tilting the case right here and having it fall out and damage itself, or another part that's close by. It can be kind of a nuisance with the weight in there, because it just unevens everything. So as you can see right there, it's out now. Took a couple taps and everything like that, but it's out. Make sure not to lose any of these spacers or washers. They are there for a reason, so if you can, please do not lose them. The kit did not come with them, so I try to clean them up and keep them as organized as possible. Make sure I didn't lose any. And yeah, so right here, this is actually like a boot or seal for the shift selector, I guess, rod that's inside the transmission. Just a rubber seal. I believe it's polyurethane, but I'm not 100% sure, and it's a pretty good idea to replace it if you don't, or if you're doing any polyurethane bushings and stuff like that. A shift selector, you know, it's right there, really easy. Comes out with some pliers or a screwdriver, and it'll help seal up, make sure no fluids leaking out of there. Keep your shifts nice and crisp. This right here is the rod I was talking about. I believe it has a 12mm bolt that holds the actual selector in place, that gets bolted to the back of it. The front is going to be sticking out of that boot I just put in. There's only one way it can go. Make sure you clean that off as well, because there will be some dirt, debris, whatever's coming out of your transmission in there. And that's just going to go slide in from the front to the back. Real easy, as long as you know you stay lined up and don't get confused about which way you took everything apart. And then right here is the actual selector. Now there is somewhat of a guide for the right there for the shift selector, so that can only go one way as well. That's going to slide over that rod and get bolted down. I don't know the torque spec on that as well. I couldn't find it, but again, as long as it's good and tight, it's not going to crank or fall or nothing like that. You don't want to strip none of these out either though, so if I can, I'll be putting up those torque specs. And again, I believe that's a 12mm bolt. So once you tighten it down, that part is pretty much complete. There is going to be a ball and detent springs that I will show you later where it actually goes. That's right there. There's the bolt, the detent spring that goes inside that bolt, and then a ball that goes under it. And I believe that's just to ensure pressure, to also make sure that it's not coming out, falling out, and it's pretty much locked in place as like a security measure. I'm not 100% sure though what it actually does, so my apologies for that. Again, 12mm bolt. Alright, now that you got it nice and tight, would move the selector, you know, a little bit just to ensure that it's moving, slides back and forth, nothing's binded up on it, and you can pretty much get it lined up from there where the selector is actually going to go. And there you go. Just had to wipe off the magnet, clean it up a little bit. There was still some debris that the brake cleaner and everything couldn't get out. You really want to make sure this casing is clean. You don't want to do all this work to just have it dirty, gunked up, and, you know, wear out your synchros or anything like that, or get in between gears or anything like that. If I could have had a cleaner environment, I would have loved to, or a desk, but I didn't have that at the time. So this had to do.